Hello, I'm Melissa Fleming, live from the United Nations, and I am so thrilled to be here with the Deputy Secretary General, Amina, Mohammed. And we're here on a really actually historic day because youth from all over the world gathered here for the Youth Climate Summit. And Amina was there. What did you experience? What were your feelings being in the room when the young people were speaking about what they're demanding of the world and the adults in the room?
Well, first of all, it was amazing that we didn't get to talk as adults. There was actually a listening position that we were in, and that young people were there to tell us exactly what it is we ought to be doing to be stepping up to the plate. So it was amazing to hear three voices, from an activist like Greta, who is moving the world to action, to people who are doing things on the ground with their solutions and really showing what can be done, whether it is in the food space and the systems that are required for that, or health or technology. So it was a really good vibe. It was a great way to start this. They brought from the streets their demands, but they've also brought solutions. And I think that's actually walking the talk on all sides.
Yeah, well, it really is we the people here. And
it is.
At the UN. You've been in this job for now?
Two and a half
years. Yes. Did this seem different a little bit? It was kind of like a reversal of roles, as you just mentioned. It was usually the grown-ups speaking to the young people, and this time it was the young people.
Right, yes, absolutely. I mean, first of all, we talked a lot as we negotiated the SDGs and Goal 13 on climate action. Now we have to implement it, and clearly we're not doing well enough as the adults in the room. And so it's about the youth and them taking their energy, their direction in where we need to go. As someone said to me the other day, you know, we picked a fight with nature and it's now fighting back. Wow. And we've got to make peace. And I think young people are showing us the way for how we make peace with nature.
That's a very quotable. We picked a fight with nature, and now we have to make peace. Yeah. And everybody has to play their part.
Yes, and we're being led by young people. I mean, it is not just, as I said, their voices for action or their marches, but it's a really incredible innovation that they're bringing into it. And we saw the winner of the Summer of Solutions, who will be on the stage tomorrow, and an amazing young person, or Monday I should say, amazing young person from India. And I think that these are things that we should take into our work and that we should deepen, you know, come down from our 40,000 feet up in New York down to the ground and in the countries, and actions to the scale that we need.
Yeah, that I think was the astonishing thing about today. It was not just, you know, protests and demands. It was actually young people coming with real solutions and very innovative.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think that this is what they're taking home with them. The summit itself brings everyone, creates some momentum for 2020 and the targets then. I just came out of a celebration of the UNFCCC, which is the Convention on Climate Change, 25 years old. And it has delivered on a number of conventions that, you know, resolutions that we've wanted. This has been the most ambitious, the Paris Agreement.
Right.
And we're really seeing young people now step up and take the lead. This is good for us. This is good for the world.
So you're saying that the UN has been at this for 25 years?
Yes, on the Convention for Climate Change, absolutely.
That's right.
Yeah.
And now the world is finally taking notice, you think? Something
so.
changed? Are we at a turning point?
I think what really changed is that, you know, it started to affect many more people who now have a voice. And really through social media and technology, your voice is much louder. And I think once that started from the grassroots and it really stepped up until leaders started to take notice, and the UN provided a space for us to actually convene that voice, then I think we started to see ambition. The ambition that the Secretary General called for is beginning to happen, and leadership on Monday will show us the color, and it better be green.
It better be green.
Better be green.
You mentioned social media, and we're talking to you on Instagram, and I'd encourage you to follow Amina Mohammed on Instagram and on Twitter. She's extremely active, posting about why we should be involved in climate action and also in promoting the Sustainable Development Goals. Why do you do that? Why are you active on social media?
Well, it's the new way of communicating, and I have to tell you, it's not been what I've been brought up with, but I can't even communicate with my children if I don't do social media. So when I first came to New York, that was the only way to keep in touch. But then the power of it to get the messages across regions, across borders, to the furthest point, so that when we say leave no one behind, how will I communicate with the no ones? and identify them and bring them into our conversation and the actions that we need to take.
Right.
So social media is amazing, and I know that people talk about the good side of it and the not so good side of it, but I think if we put enough light on the not so good side, we will get the good side and use it, because I think it's a very powerful tool. And it's helped young people to get their voices into this building today, where they have taken the position of being the ones that are speaking, and we listening.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, both of us are wearing these beautiful Sustainable Development Goal pins, and you've been known around the world. You're becoming famous for being the champion for the Sustainable Development Goals. Do you think enough people in the world know what the Sustainable Development Goals are, and what should they know if they don't?
I think that they don't know maybe what the SDG is, but they do know the issues. Every one of the Sustainable Development Goals speaks to people, whether it's about talking about no hunger, or it is about gender equality, or it is about if we take about climate action, but also life on Earth and life, under the oceans. All of it is about what resonates in their lives. So I think the way we capture and communicate it, perhaps we could do better, because we're the UN and so we're full of acronyms, aren't we? But I think the issues are very clear to people, and that's what we have to galvanize. People are now pointing to say, yes, that's an SDG issue, and it's an integral part of what we do. This has been one of the most important opportunities to take the climate agenda and say, actually, it's that green one on the circle. Right. It's an integral part of sustainable development, which means our greener economy, our greener lives, and really, as we say, peace with the planet, peace with nature.
Right. Somebody, I think it was a journalist, trying to simply describe the Sustainable Development Goals ahead of this GA week, and she described it as the to-do list for the world.
Yes, absolutely.
You like that description?
I like that to-do list, because I think everyone's got one. This is one list that everybody will recognize themselves in, and it makes much more sense because it's action-oriented, and that's, pulls you into it. So if it's a to-do list, what's my next one?
Right.
And that's it.
And do you think that we're making progress? Are countries making progress on checking off
we're coming,
the to-do list?
We're coming together this week to, for the first time, take stock. What's clear is everyone's engaged, they own it, and they want to act on it, but we're not doing enough fast enough to catch up with climate change, to catch up with the number of people that are going hungry every day, to catch up with the number of women that are being left behind. And so we have to accelerate, we have to go to scale, we have to galvanize an action that is a decade of action for the delivering on the SDGs. That's what we really need to do.
That's the last thing. I mean, there's so much going on here this coming week, but tomorrow, on Monday, we have the Climate Summit that is going to bring leaders to the United Nations who have agreed, the ones who are going to speak have agreed to come with action points. And as the Secretary General said, if you're coming just with a beautiful speech, you can give it elsewhere, but if you're coming to the Climate Action Summit, come with plans. Are you hopeful that we'll see some real concrete initiatives that are going to move the needle on climate change, climate action?
Yes, I am. I mean, we've had 9 coalitions over the last year that have been coming together with the actions, the initiatives, the scale of investments to show what leadership should look like at this summit. And so far, so good. Up until now, we're still getting people coming in and saying, can we speak? And it's not about who's left out of this. It's how many people we've got on board and how many more we need to get. So Monday will be about showing what leadership looks like to meet the targets of 2020. But there's so much more opportunity for everyone else to join. So it's how do we crowd as many people as we can get in who understand what it is to do the ambition piece, and it is possible. The challenge of climate change is man-made, and we can undo that. We can actually make peace with nature. We can bring the solutions for climate action. It's not beyond us. It certainly is possible.
Well, on that note, and that very positive, hopeful message, thank you very much, Amina, for joining us, and thank you all for tuning in to us here live at the United Nations, just ahead of the UN General Assembly.
Thank you.